Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about Toronto FC in the Moving Forward series episode. So there's no doubt that heading into this year, this team was once again back in stage one of this deep rebuild. And I know there was definitely a lot of frustration among the fan base to a point where we saw in the first half of the season things got so bad for this team that the fans were protesting. There was boycott. There was even a flyover with a protest banner protesting in terms of the front office. But when you look at how this season eventually turned out for this team, even with the ugly record that they have, and even though they're definitely not one of the better team in the Eastern Conference, this is a team that I think has definitely made progress in terms of the deep rebuild. This is a team that I've said throughout the second half of the season, this is kind of a team you just don't want to play against because this is a team that played this kind of negative brand of soccer that might not be the most entertaining to watch, but is an absolute pass when they you face against them. Even some of the better teams we've seen in the Eastern Conference face against Toronto, and they haven't had a lot of luck when it comes to scoring goals and really trying to get all 3 points. And if they do get all 3 points, they really have to earn it in terms of the resort itself. But I think the other thing that is got to be a huge win for PFC in terms of this season, and pretty much this is like their MLS Cup, got rid of the two Italians. They no longer have to worry about those two Italian contract and Bernadeschi and Insigne that kind of hang over their head in terms of just big albatross that really stalled in terms of this rebuild that they're going through. And now, not only there's going to be cap space that is open up, but they have some DP spot to play with in the off season, and they can definitely use those DP spot to really improve this roster. That there's no doubt that when you look at this roster right now, it's still nowhere near in terms of being competitive in the Eastern Conference. Now, that being said, looking at their record, 5-13-13 is their record. It's a pretty ugly record, but you got to remember, they actually have now gone 7 games unbeaten so far. They have gone 7 straight time, which I think that must be close to a record in MLS right now. And if they would have done this a little bit earlier, they probably would have maybe even came close in terms of the most draw in MLS history. I mean, this is really the draw king of MLS. They kind of had that philosophy of, well, if we can't win game because of our bad roster, then you can't win either. So as a result, they got a lot of draws in the last couple of games. They have 28 points so far. They only scored 31 goals. Obviously, this is not a big surprise that they are one of the lowest goal scoring team in the league. I mean, there's just no creativity whatsoever on this team, and especially on the attack in front. There's also no number 9 on this team that can really score the goals week in and week out. But when you look at the goals allowed, this is where the big improvement is. Only 38 goals conceded so far this season, which is among some of the best when it comes to MLS. I mean, they're right up there in terms of some of the better team in the Eastern Conference, and even looking in the Western Conference, we see a couple of team in the West. I think Minnesota have only conceded one less than Toronto is, and the same you can say about the Vancouver Whitecaps as well. So this is a really good the defensive team. And a big part of it is because, as I mentioned throughout the second half of the season, it feels like Robin Fraser has kind of input this very negative brand of soccer where, yes, it's very boring to watch and it's very ugly to see, but it's effective because, they've done a really good job sticking to this plan and really kind of neutralize all the team that face against them. There's a reason why I say that whenever you face against Toronto, they're kind of like a pest to face because this is going to be a team that is going to make your life absolutely miserable in terms of trying to attack. They close up any gaps whatsoever. Go ultra the win against Toronto. Good luck on that. And also, you really want to do so, you really have to earn for it. Maybe you can only score like one goal or 2 goals, and that's all you probably will have because this is a team that what's kind of interesting throughout this season. When you look at all of the games that they play, they have rarely have games where they conceded more than two goals, and that's a huge improvement compared to last season, where last season it was a regular occurrence. But they do have a goal differential of -7. They're currently 12th in the Eastern Conference, and of course they got eliminated from playoff contention a couple of weeks back. Now, looking at the top goal scored on this team, so when you have a team that only have 31 goals, it's no surprise that when you look at the top goal scored on this team, yeah, it's not really a lot. But Theo Corbeanu is the top goal scored on this team. They got a decision to make about Theo Corbeanu this all season. I believe he's still currently on loan with right now with Toronto. It'll be very interesting to see whether they bring him back, or maybe they'll go for a DP9 during this offseason. But he currently has 6 goals, followed by Bernadeschi, who of course is no longer on this team with 4 goals. Then they have DeAndre Kerr and Jonathan Osorio on the top five list. So yeah, the old captain is even on the top five goal scoring list as well with 3 goals, and then David Forrest rounds up the top five with 2 goals. Top assist leader, you got Benedeski, who of course no longer on this team with 4 assists, followed by Jonathan Osorio with 3 assists. Georgi Mihailovic, of course, coming in from Colorado with 3 assists, and he's going to be a key guy, I think, heading into next season when it comes to the playmaking department. They spent a lot of money to bring him in and did a lot of convincing to bring him in to here because yeah, for Mihailovic, must be not an easy decision. The fact that he coming to a team in Colorado that is a playoff contention to now go to a team that is still in a project stage and it's kind of still in this rebuild stage to really kind of be the guy that get this team back to competitiveness. And then you have Lorenzo Insigne, no longer on this team with 3 assists, followed by David Forrest with 2 assists to round up the top five. Best game of the season. I mean, this is not a contest. It's a 6-1 win against Montreal. That is by far the best game that not only they had this season, but really for the past couple of years. I mean, as bad as this season has gone, at least Toronto will say that not only they have the bragging rights over Montreal, but they were able to put up a 6 spot on the road against Montreal. Had Montreal one of the worst losses they've ever had at home as well, and it was quite remarkable seeing that game and how Toronto just absolutely dominated. I mean, I know Montreal was not doing very well either, but this was doing a stage in the early part of the season where, again, this was kind of the part where a couple of weeks before fans were openly protesting and boycotting this team. There was a lot of unhappiness within the TFC fan base. So to drop 6 against your biggest rival, not only get some of the fans some optimism back, but yeah, that's got to feel good if you're a Toronto FC fan. I mean, if you're a bad team, if there is some sort of positive that you hope you team can do, and out of the answer to that is beat Montreal, and they did exactly that in this one. Now, the worst game of the season. This is actually a tough one, and I know, no, it might be crazy to say for a team that is not doing well that I have a tough time in terms of putting worst game of the season because when I look at the second half of the season, I mean, there's really no game I can say that is a worst game of the season. Most of these games, TFC has always been in the game and have hold their opposition to firm. And if they do lose, they don't lose by a huge margin whatsoever. I think in this entire second half of the season since July, I think the only time they conceded more than 2 goals was against NYCFC on the road. But even then, they were in that game as well. So I had to kind of go back to the early part of the season where things really they gone well, and I think I'm gonna pick the 2-0 loss at home against New England as the worst game of the season because this is when really the fans started to protest about this team. Well, actually, there was protests already before for this game happened, but this is where it kind of started to the next level. Where yeah, the unhappiness within the TFC fan base was at an all time. And nobody was trusting this front office. They feel like this rebuild that they are going through is just absolutely really going the wrong way. And this is the thing about deep rebuild. You're gonna have some growing pains, and I don't blame the TFC fans. Were kind of frustrated about the team. I mean, it's not easy to support a team that's been sucked for the past couple of years, but at the same time, I can understand why maybe the front office were hoping to kind of let the fan base understand that they got to be patient in terms of this rebuild. Eventually, things are going to go well. Eventually, there's always a brighter side on the other side of the tunnel. And again, there seems like that was the case because you look at this TFC team compared to where they were in the beginning of the season. There's definitely more optimism now within the fan base, and not really too many of those protests about the front office compared to what we saw in the beginning of the year. Now, in terms of the average attendance, 21,374, which is good for 11th in the league. Obviously, the attendance has been a big drop for this team. Not a big surprise because again, part of the protest was one of the reasons why it affected attendance. But overall, it's still a pretty good attendance. I mean, TFC has always have a very strong fan base. This team has always let or at least close to be in the top five in terms of attendance for the past couple of years. And there's no doubt that if this team is going to start winning again and get themselves back to playoff contention, that number is going to go high again because this is a fan base that is very passionate about their team, and if they of course are able to get things going again, those fans are going to be showed out. I mean, when we saw during the peak when TFC was kind of the kings of MLS and especially the dominant force in the Eastern Conference, almost every single game at BMO Stadium was sold out. Like they were averaging like 29,000 plus. So again, if you win, you're going to get the fans back and get their support, and there's no doubt that would be the case, especially next season if they can start getting things going once again, or maybe even sign an exciting player as well. That could also get the fan base something to go and watch the team. I mean, we saw it with those two Italians when they first come to MLS and joined Toronto FC. Yeah, most of the games were pretty close to being sold out, and then and then it turns out that was the only joy that I think Toronto FC would have in terms of that those two guys really kind of set the team back even more. Now, looking at MVP of this team, it's not very often I put a goalkeeper as the MVP, but I'm going to put Sean Johnson there as well. I mean, Sean Johnson, it feels like he gone back to his NYCFC form this year. I mean, it's been a couple of rocky year with Toronto FC. He has had some good games in the last couple of years as well, but there's also times where he just looked like he's completely washed up. But this season has been the complete opposite. He has really gone back to his MLS Cup winning form, making some big save after big save as well, and really a big reason why they have only conceded 38 goals. I think the last game against Inter Miami, that was peak Sean Johnson. Like that was probably the best game that Sean Johnson have played in a Toronto FC shirt as well, and just looked like the Sean Johnson that, if he keep playing like this, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, he might sneak into the conversation of the U.S. men's national team. I mean, I know some might say it's kind of past that, but the goalkeeping position, for the men's national team, it's still a big question mark as well. I mean, obviously there's that debate of, is it going to be Matt Turner or Matt Freese or even Zach Steffen being there. Don't forget about Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson has done well this season. I think he can definitely sneak himself back into the conversation and maybe even sneak in to the World Cup squad heading into next year. Now, disappointment for this team. I'm gonna go with Ola Hinson. I mean, I know it's very easy. I could just pick one of those two Italians as a disappointment, but I feel like that's just a cop out. I think that's too easy to say. So I'm actually gonna go with Ola Hinson, mainly because, well, he's no longer with this team. He's now going back to Norway. But what's so disappointing about him is that, here they had in terms of bringing this number nine that they thought that they were going to get some production, especially this kind of hard nosed number nine, very similar to what they had with Josie Altidore doing those winning season as well. A hard nosed number nine that knows how to score the goals but also be physical. And they thought that they got that kind of player. And while Bryn Hinson was kind of a physical kind of player and can definitely get in the the face of the defenders and also show his physicality, his finishing was not there. I mean, his finishing was relatively poor, and as a striker, that is literally the main goal. Like, if you don't put the ball into the back of net, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of frustration in terms of your head coach and also the fans as well. And that was kind of the thing with Brent Hinson. He just never was being clinical. He always at times find some good spot as well, but because of the bad finishing is kind of the reason why it's a bit of a disappointment and another dud in terms of the signing as well. I think that's also one thing that I think TFC fans might not be too optimistic, because when you look at the front office and in terms of the signings that they had, yeah, most of these signings have not gone well for this team either. It feels like most of the signings, most of the thing that they try to improve the team, and it just kind of gone completely backwards terms of how it turns out by the end of the season. Now, in terms of relevation, I'm going to go with Malik Henry. Now, this is a guy that you probably might not heard about, but this is a guy that, currently what is with the TFC team. He's one of the more hotly prospect in the TFC2 team. Did play a couple minutes this season for the main team. Now, I'm not quite sure if he's going to get more minutes heading into next season, but he's definitely a prodigy. I think he can be a really good player. I've heard that he's done some good thing in MLS Next Pro, and there could be a case where he could definitely be ready to get even more minutes heading into this season. And even the limited minutes that he's shown, you can see the potential that he definitely has the potential to be a good player. And that's another thing that, TFC is trying hard to fix, which is they really want to get their academy back to well, trying to get their academy be one of the better ones in MLS. And it's shocking the fact that this academy is not one of the best in MLS. You look at all the players from the Canadian national team. What region do they most of them come from? Yeah, that's right. It's in the Toronto area. So I have no idea why Toronto does not do a good job in terms of producing talent. Like they're literally in one of the hottest talent band, not only in MLS but in Canada in general. So I just think that they need to definitely work on that and bring in some of these guys, because there's no doubt that there is talent there, and if they're able to integrate them into the main team as well, that can definitely put a shot in the arm in terms of this deep rebuild that they have. Everybody loves to see a young player, especially a young homegrown player, do well, and I feel like we could maybe see that with Midley Henry in a couple of years. Now, what went right for this TFC team? So again, the progress in the rebuild, it feels like it's going the right direction. They've been a very gritty team to play, a team that you just simply don't want to play against if you have something that needs to be up for grabs. They have played a really good role in terms of being the spoiler as well, ruining a lot of teams' chances in terms of either getting in the supporter shield race or even getting themselves into the playoffs. And then, of course, getting rid of those two Italian contract, like I said, that felt like it was the MLS Cup for them. They had to find ways to finally get rid of it, and the fact that they were able to do so and able to do it in an efficient way, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to the front office for doing so. It was not an easy decision too for them to well, it was an easy decision in terms of sort of trying to get rid of two, but it was not an easy decision in terms of the overall process as well. And then, of course, Sean Johnson, like I said, going back to his NYCFC form, he's been an absolute menace this season, and one of the reasons why this is one of the best defensive team in the league. So what went wrong for this TFC side? So obviously the talent of this team is nowhere near in terms of being the best in MLS. We know this, and I'm pretty sure even TFC fans know this. This is the bottom tier roster that Robin Fraser, he can only do so much in terms of getting this team to play the way that they are. And again, I think the way that they're playing this negative brand of soccer, I'm not quite sure if this is kind of the thing that Robin Fraser would stick long term. I think the only reason why he's doing this is because this team is a bottom tier when it comes to the talent level. So if they can get themselves being more pragmatic. And we usually see this with bad teams. They tend to be a little bit more pragmatic and be a little bit more defensive. And sometimes that could work out because that could nullify in terms of some of the talent gap there, where if you just kind of sit 10 men behind the box and you'll be very disciplined in terms of your defensive shape, and maybe even get a half a chance or two on the counterattack, then there could be a good chance that you could do something thing and maybe get some resort. And that's kind of the formula that TFC has had. They've been pretty much defending a lot in most of these games, but they've been also been able to capitalize on the chances that they of course got, which is not really a lot of them. There's no creativity and goal scored on this team, so that goes in terms of the talent as well. There's really none of that. Although that obviously could be different with the creativity department, because as I said, Georgi Mihailovic, doing his short time with TFC, already started to show sign that he could be the leader on this attack heading into next season. And then, the other thing that went wrong for this team, we got to go back to what we saw in the first couple of games, and the frustration between the fans, the fact that yeah, it got so ugly in terms of how the first couple of games is, that the fans they just absolutely started to send a message to the front office by saying, yeah, we're not gonna go to these games. Like you're not winning. You're not showing any vision or culture whatsoever. We're just gonna boycott these games and continue to protest until things gets better. Now, moving forward for this team, like I said, with those two Italians now gone, that really opens up the DP spot and flexibility. And I'm assuming they're probably maybe getting a DP9 heading into this season, maybe even a DP level of midfielder or a holding midfielder as well. I mean, with the way that they really struggle in terms of goal scoring, I won't be surprised if they're gonna really spend those DP spot in terms of getting a more attacking threat team to really get this team going on the attacking end. And then of course they need to booster the midfield and the attack, as I mentioned before with that too. Now they kind of already did a little bit of that, bring Georgi Mihailovic, and then recently bring in Jose Cifuentes as well. We'll see whether or not if Cifuentes can get himself back to his LAFC form. So far, he's been okay with the team, but it's a very limited sample size. He only made his I think he only made his second appearance against Inter Miami over this weekend as well. And then Mihailovic, he's gonna be the key in terms of this attack. I think if he is able to be that key creator like what we've seen, and we've seen this happen with him. Whichever team that he has gone to, he has really helped the attack. When he was with Colorado, really helped the attack make that Rapids team one of the funnest team on the attacking end. The same goes with Montreal as well. When Montreal still had Wilfred Nancy, Georgi Mihailovic was a key player in terms of really pulling the string on the attack. So we're gonna see probably the same thing with Robin Fraser team. But now the question is that you need to surround him with talent. I mean, he can of course pull the string and he can definitely be the creative player. But it's all about now you need to have the players and the help for him to put those ball into good spot and let one of his teammates finish the back of net. Because when you don't have those kind of players, that's what we see with Mihailovic, and it's kind of miraculous the fact that even without those players, he is still getting assists and goals as well. That just shows you how special of a player he is. But if you can definitely get the help that he needs and get some teammate to help him out in terms of the goal scoring department when he's providing a good ball, then this is a TFC team that definitely can get themselves where they are going to be in terms of the bonus category, get themselves back into playoff contention. I know it might sound crazy to say, especially I do feel like as I said in the beginning of the season, this team maybe is 2 or 3 years away from competing. But after what we've seen from this season, I mean, there could be a case where they could compete as soon as next season because of the cap space and because of the DP spot that they have. And with the way that this ownership group and this front office has never been shy in terms of spending, this is a team that have always spent a lot of money and always been very ambitious. I won't be so surprised if they're going to really go for it in the offseason in terms of trying to get this team back to competitiveness. Now, in terms of the money that they of course spent on these players, they better hope that of course it will live up, because more times or not that has not worked out for them. And if it doesn't work out for them and whichever signings that they of course made, yeah, it feels like the rebuild is going to be stalled, and this is where the fans are probably going to show their displeasure again, and once again maybe boycotting and protesting the game as well, because that's been the frustration for TFC fan. I can understand why TFC fans have been very frustrated with this team for the past couple of years, because they just want to get themselves back to the glory days that they had back in 2016 going all the way to 2020 as well, because after that this team just completely fall off the map, and we'll see whether or not if they can at least get even more closer to that glory heading into the next season, and that maybe the future could be really bright for this team. And also hoping that Robin Fraser doesn't get himself caught up with some scandal that basically forced himself to step down from the team, just like what we saw with John Herman last offseason. But yeah, either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like, smash the subscribe button. As always, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this moving forward series? If you're a TFC fan, what do you think is the MVP, disappointment, revelation? What went right, what went wrong, and most importantly, moving forward, how is this team going to look heading into next season? But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.